Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
All right. Hope everything is good with all you fine folks. It has been definitely busy around here. We've gotten a lot of stuff knocked off the plate, which is good. For the first week in a while, I feel like I actually got to get a few things done around the farm, which was nice. When it seems like I've been spending all of my time at work. But
another thing.
Yeah,
Meetings and meeting people. And
yeah. How'd your week go?
It went by really fast.
The weather's been cool.
Almost kind of chilly.
Yeah, so nice. So nice not to be constantly wiping sweat off your forehead, running into your eyes and, and those kind of things. And so that's pretty good. And you're getting ready for your cows to come back, right?
Yep.
When will they be back?
This weekend.
So this weekend she'll get her cows back. They went off to be bred.
Yeah.
And I would assume that's been successful. And so they're coming home.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Where one of the things B and I are working on is to where we can raise, get a big enough cycle going on, that we can raise 2 beef every year to be slaughtered and maybe harvested was a gentler word. To be harvested. You like that word better?
Yeah.
Same damn thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so, but you got to have so many mamas, and you really are growing out the girls, and you're eating the boys, and it takes several years for them to be ready. So anyway, we're working towards that goal. We've got 5 now. That's not enough, but
right.
But we'll get there.
We give some to our boys too. So
yeah, that's why I want to raise
our children.
So we can do that. But before we get too far into that, let's get some hellos done. Terminator, how are you? I hope everything's well for you. I know I've been reading your emails. I know you've got a whole bunch of stuff in front of you, but if anybody can handle it, it'd be you. Starlet Oak, welcome in. The greatest name on the internet is in the house. My buddy Matt's here. Matt, good to see you. Squatchy says he'll be back. Carrie Davis, how are you? And
howdy.
Yep, howdy. Let's see here. Beth Emily, welcome in. Hippocrates Garden. There's 2 instigators. So Hippocrates Garden's an instigator. Carrie Davis is an instigator. So that's a pair right there.
I don't think she's an instigator. I think Hippocrates is an instigator.
Jane, welcome in. Good to see you. Marcia Newsom, how are you?
Hello.
I bet it's hot down there. It has been so nice here. Oh my goodness. My buddy, one step closer is here. Good to see you. Lisa, how are you? Let's see here. Paula Hempworth is in the house, and her beautiful bride, Harry.
Her beautiful bride.
The king himself, Jeff Juicy Hefty Lefty Amazon Mud Dauber Slick Phyllis is in the house, as is Dana Green. Live with Mike and Jen is here. Jen, how are you? Good to see you. Mike, I hope you're listening. Let's see here. The beautiful Louise Wesley sitting here, eating some Myers Mater sandwiches, getting ready for the fun-filled Friday night with the Tag and B show. Very, very good. Yeah, there's tomatoes all over the place. I got some pictures in the slideshow tonight of those. Love Runs Rapid, welcome in. Good to see you. Okay, let's hear real quick here. Love Runs Rapid says, pray for us. We are looking at 68 acres on Tuesday.
Oh.
Hey, all you freedom-loving prayer warriors out there, let's send a prayer to Love Runs Rapid that they're successful in their effort. Pick up 68 acres on Tuesday.
Congratulations.
Yep. Let's see here. Rhonda Benefield, welcome in. Jane, welcome in. Good to see you. Let's see here. I think I'm caught up. Oh, Terminator says we have been in the low 40s at night most of the week. I like that. I like being able to sleep with covers.
A little chilly.
Yeah, I mean, we're where your wife rolls over and puts her leg on you, and you don't scream, like it's hot, I like that.
Right.
That's super, super nice.
Yeah.
Betsy De La Rosa, welcome in. Grateful Hearts Ranch, good to see you. Nidos is in. My computer's beeping. Nidos, I wonder how everything's going on your front. If you got that all that stuff figured out. What a mess that's been.
I have a turkey out of the fence and she's pacing. That's what that noise
and
is.
You just can't hardly sit up here.
I just looked to see what it was and make sure that she's gonna be okay.
Hey, Lisa May, welcome in. She's gonna be
that's what that noise
she
is.
Got out, she can get back in.
Yeah, but she flew out and ran around and now she can't get back in.
Yep.
She can't figure it out.
Yep. What do you got on your list tonight?
I thought we were going to go through pictures.
You want to do that first?
Yeah, because there's a lot of the stuff that I have, and you're like, oh, I got a picture on that.
Okay. So just so you know, If
like
you
harvested.
if you send me a picture,
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because a lot of times you don't get the pictures, and then you go, "No, I didn't get that."
oh my goodness. Oh
So
my
I don't know
goodness.
what
Oh
you
my
got.
goodness. I
And
wonder-
then there's pictures that I send you, and I know you got that you don't use, like the one where the trash is hanging out of the black truck because, like, you shut the door while the trash was overflowing out of the truck, and you just shut the door on it. And I sent you a picture of it, and you were like, "Yeah, that didn't make it in. That didn't make it in the live."
Yeah, Nito says, still working through all the regulations, still just more money. Yeah.
Really?
Oh my goodness. Will be cool says only got, first of all, welcome in and says only got to 82 today, unheard of in August. Yeah. Yeah. It's this weather's been something interesting. I was looking at the forecast and it looks like we're going to be in the 80s for a while.
Yes.
I didn't see a single 90-day over the next 20 days.
They did. Ryan Hall said that we were going to have a heat up, but now he says, "Oh, change of plans. It is not going to heat up. We're going to stay chilly."
Got it.
For a while, for a while.
Well, the thing is, you're coming out of it now. You're at the backside of it, so it may never warm back up again. You know, I mean, that might be the end of the hot winter or the hot summer. I mean, hot winter.
The hot winter.
Yeah. Hey, lazy loper, how are you?
Good thing.
I imagine you're sitting there working, right? Love runs rampant says it's 70s there. Yeah, it's just been absolutely beautiful. Well, if you guys remember for the last week's live, me and B got into a discussion about toolboxes that didn't open and drawers. There's no way you could have 4 drawers full of pliers. And so
that's just ridiculous.
So I thought that I would share with you guys some pictures. Okay, so you see those 4 drawers? B, why are you holding up the number 4?
Because you say that those are pliers, but I don't think that they're pliers. You're like, yes, those are all pliers. And I'm like, oh, okay, like these are tin snips of some kind, but they're like, oh yeah, you got to go to the pliers to get them. Go to the pliers drawer. He says they're all labeled. They're not labeled.
Yes, they are. You see all those white stickers are just pretty faded.
There's white stickers on there, all right. They are not labeled.
Well,
good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Go to the pliers drawer and get me some pliers.
One step closer says different types of pliers for different jobs.
Yes.
Right. And a wire stripper is considered a pair of pliers. How would a vice grip not be?
I don't think wire strippers should be called pliers.
But they are.
Because those are wire strippers.
They are.
Hey, go get me a pair of wire strippers.
They will be in one of those 4 drawers.
Hey, go get me a pair of pliers.
They'll be one of those 4 drawers.
Yeah, but you're not going to say go get me a pair of pliers and then need a pair of wire strippers and then I'm going to bring you.
No,
back
I would say I needed
pair.
Wire strippers.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
What?
That you would call them what they are. You would call them wire strippers. Go get me some wire strippers.
Goodness. Yeah. So
go get me. Yeah. Go get me some clamps.
Those are vice grips. It's just a different type of vice grip.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Go give me a vice grip, and then you bring this back, and then he's like, "That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted."
Kerry Davis says, "B, you have to ask me for pictures." And Starla Doak says, "Hello everyone, checking in. I'm now in remission and will preach about Joel Tipton and the anti-parasitics. It works. Check into it." Well, first of all, congratulations on
That's
being
wonderful.
in remission. Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep. See here, Terminator says, I'm learning how to draw plans. I'm trying to stay ahead of the dumbass oops. Yeah, the problem, there are plenty of those.
Well, and if it's a moving target, it's real hard.
One step closer says linesman pliers, needle nose pliers, pistol grip pliers, fencing pliers. There's lots of different kinds. I could have 10 drawers of pliers if I had all of them.
Right.
Nito says, my oldest son works as a mechanic and is on the hunt for a bigger box to hold all the tools he has. Man, they are expensive.
There's no such a box that will hold all the tools they have. They have to have multiple boxes.
Especially not for long. We might hold them today, but it's just a matter of time.
Because we have to have 4 drawers of pliers.
I could have 8 drawers of pliers pretty easy. You know, the 4 drawers on the other side are all screwdrivers.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No. Jen says, looks like a label maker kind of day is in order. You know what? I am very excited about you and B coming out and relabeling all the boxes. That's such a smart
I'm not going to
deal.
label them. I'm going to label those drawers all the same then, right?
Just pliers, 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 pliers.
Those are all pliers.
So you agree now they're all pliers.
That's what you say. So
well, and as you guys remember, we also had a toolbox that wouldn't open, and my picture's horrible. Look at that. Anyway, it opened.
oh no.
What's going on? There we go. We'll stop right there. Sometimes when I turn the picture, when I go from PowerPoint over to here, it skews it.
Oh, I wonder if it's like a sideways picture or a
Yeah. It just does its
vertical
own thing. I don't know.
horizontal.
One step closer so the tag knows where the important is. 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Jen says, I'm coming with baskets and a label maker. Yeah, he has he has to expand his collection for his job, so needs a bigger box now.
Mhm.
Yep. And Terminator says, tag, I got news last night. My only living sister was diagnosed. She is full of cancer and they're giving her 6. So hard. So hard. Well, B, tell me about your tomatoes. Look at all that on the ground.
Yeah, those are ones that I couldn't.
They already were kind of rotted or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is why you have tomatoes growing up everywhere.
This is why I have tomatoes growing up everywhere. Yeah. Exactly. So I ended up with about 4 crates of tomatoes. This was after MMR came and grabbed a couple crates to make some salsa.
Mm.
So then I took a couple crates.
How many's a couple, 2?
No, I don't know.
Yes.
4.
So she picked up 4, and it looks like you have 5 there. You got 9 crates of
There's
tomatoes.
one behind there too.
10 crates of tomatoes.
Yeah, but you see they're not very deep. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want to bury them all the way deep because what's on the bottom will, especially when they're pretty ripe, because they're ready to use.
Yeah.
Then I called a couple people and said, hey, do you want any? Do you want any? Do you want any? And then I said, well, if you, take what you want. And then whatever's left, I want to do some ketchup. I want to make some ketchup.
Mm.
You excited?
I am.
To have homemade ketchup.
That's what you're going to do tomorrow, right?
Yeah. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
That is my plan while I continue to work on laundry.
Okay.
Because we have an overabundance of laundry.
Yeah, well, when I'm working a lot, I get
not doing laundry.
Right. Well, and I'm also wearing a lot of days 2 sets now.
Yeah.
I'm set to go to work, and then I come home and change, and then a set to go back to work out. You know.
Well, and too, if I go and mow on the little mower, you're covered and stuff. So I'll come back and I'll take a shower and put on other clothes too.
Instigator says, so not ammunition for the next county meeting? No, this will not be ammunition for the county meeting. And welcome in, Mary Michelle.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put the picture of the elderberries in here for a reason.
Because they look pretty cool.
Yeah, because
Look how beautiful they are.
You better get them
wonderful.
off. You better get them off the plant.
How wonderful those look.
You better get them off the plant.
Do you want to help?
They're not going to be there long. I got my plate full.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that.
Yep.
Yes, I have tomatoes that I was going to harvest. No, not harvest. I was going to process.
Yep.
And that is an all-day event, buddy.
You going to use the community building?
No, I was just going to use it here.
Mm.
Because the squeezo strainer's here.
Mm. Okay. What are those?
Those are zinnias.
You sent me those pictures.
Yeah, those are beautiful. Those are the swallowtail butterflies that we had the larva all over the dill.
Mm-hmm.
They went and they had their little chrysalis, and they hatched. And here is one. We've seen several. That lavender is beautiful too.
Mm.
Look how pretty.
Yeah.
That is one stem. That zinnia, that is one stem coming out of the ground, and then it just branches off into lots of different.
Yeah, how beautiful. I like that you're planting more and more flowers.
I've tried in the past. It's just, I don't know if you noticed around the other side of that, how that goes around the other side. Those are more lavender starts. There's like 5. I'm trying to do like a little path, I guess, of lavender.
Did any of your creeping thyme come up?
No. I guess you need like a crap ton of seeds in order to put it in a big fanned area.
Terminator says bee, your zinnias are beautiful. I like looking at the flowers.
These, so did you, you didn't by chance get any of the orange ones up in the garden? Oh man. Those are pretty massive, pretty beautiful. It's so incredible how each flower grows a little bit different, how this has this like plume in the middle and then the petals come off of that. I just think that it's amazing how, the lavender, this is my first lavender that I've ever gotten to grow. So, and actually this was given to me from Becky. This is a Becky lavender. And I have a couple of sprigs, I guess, that are dried out. So I was able to pull the dead flowers off and see the seeds. So it's like,
Love Orange Rabbit says, I love zinnia. I have a 60-foot row, 2.5 feet wide for my bees and pollinators.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah. And goes on to say, save your flower heads. Yep. And Beth Emily says, love those zinnias.
I gifted a couple of these heads to a few people.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's
my intent is to help pass them around.
Yeah. That's one of the super cool things about having a community. There's so many wonderful things about it, but one very long ago, and me and B and we're sitting down, and we were eating Louise cantaloupe.
Yep.
And
watermelon.
And tonight she's sitting there eating tag and bee tomatoes. Right. And yesterday the Indiana crew sat and made salsa from tag and bee tomatoes. Right. And B took a whole big old box, a couple crates down to the community building and just said, hey, anybody wants them, come get them.
Yeah.
And so people showed up and got tomatoes and stuff. But
yep. And I'm getting milk from this neighbor, and just being able to
that's the
share your abundance.
It's about building a parallel society, babe, in the end.
Yeah.
It's about how do we get out of the system and in as many fronts as we possibly can. Even something so simple as buying your milk from the local farmer is an act of rebellion.
Yeah. And it's so much better for you.
So much better for you. Yes. And, we get our bread from another homestead and milk from another homestead. And then we swap.
Yep. And then I got to make butter with the milk.
Yep. Right.
And then we got buttermilk.
Oh, and then we swap other things. Bees, cows right now went to another farm to be bred, and they're going to come home. And so, that works out that way too.
And then I have a buck for goat breeding.
Yep. Yep. And people come and they'll get my skid loader and use it from time to time. And, I borrowed other people's, laser level or whatever it was, as time was worn on. So there's just so many really cool advantages to having community, and this is just one of them.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to go to other people's farms and see the same flowers and
get heads of them.
Well, no.
Did you ever do anything with the garden? All the seeds I got from you out of that garden at your mom's thing?
I have them. I mean, they're seeds. It's not time to plant them
right
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terminator said she grew neon calendula flowers this year that were neon orange and beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I missed some comments. I'll try to get through them here. I'm a flower and a herb nerd. You guys are my people. We are. Hey, Crunchy Mama Farms, how are you? Happy Friday to you as well. Looking forward to seeing you guys in November. I'm going to talk about your event again tonight, like I do every night up until now, at least until the event. So everybody knows some of the proceeds from this event are going to help facilitate work being done at a school or schools about bringing butchering classes and bringing this lifestyle to them, which is an inspiration to me, Crunchy Mama Farms, and certainly close to my heart.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yep, the Loper just received a yogurt maker today. Going to use goat milk from the neighbors. I love that.
What kind of yogurt maker?
Yep.
I want to know details.
Staines girls is howdy to everyone. Busy loading the moving van. I bet you are. I've got some pictures from a project you worked on this week. A few that I'd like to put out there, but I know I'll see you soon. Let's see here. Jen says it really does take a village. It really does, and it's it's something I've learned over the time. Is I thought I underestimated this life when I moved to it. Would you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, and there's a lot to it.
Big time.
Yeah, and there's a lot to it, and being able to meet all of your needs is impossible. And again, this is the community thing, right? Because you can, if we can just get organized enough, you can really get where maybe not all of your needs are met, but all of the basic fundamentals of life, milk and eggs, and
Well, every stroke,
produce and meat. I mean that's the beginning.
every stroke that you remove, just like you said, have said in the past, is just one step closer to having that optimal choice.
Yeah, Dana Green, hello, says in Great Britain you have to have your ID to buy groceries. Starts in September. And it's coming, guys, and it's coming for all of us. The stuff that's gone on, with Northern Girl Hobbies and with Terminator up north, the stuff here going on in Great Britain, the stuff going on. I'm going to talk about some of that stuff tonight. And it all starts with little small infringements upon your rights. And you don't say anything because you happen to like the cause, right? Or you don't say anything because it's just, it doesn't really affect me. And then you wake up one day and you're having to present ID, to buy groceries. And that's just how it works.
I wonder if they're tracking that, then they'll know the people who are not buying the items. Right? So then that could be a target on the opposite side.
Yeah, England's pretty Britain is pretty surveillanced. But the problem is over there you're on an island. There's not a lot of space. You're going to have to play along to get food. They're simply incapable of growing all of their own food for all their people. There might be some farmers that would be okay, but calendula seeds in my basement now, and calendula petals infusing in oil in the dining room. That's right up your alley, huh?
Yeah,
baby?
that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah. Let's see here. Squatchy says, good question. B. Loper will respond. What was your question?
I wanted to know what yogurt maker she had, because if I have cows and I have goats and I'm going to have milk, I'm going to have cream, and I'd love to have my own yogurt. I'd love to have that opportunity to have sour cream and all the things that we buy that I could produce just by having the cow or the goat.
Crunchy Mama Farm says, really look forward to hanging out with everyone at the Midwest Preparedness. Yeah, they're doing a class on butchering, I'm assuming. I didn't read the class details, but I did see that picture of you guys there. So I'm assuming that's what you guys are doing, which is super, super cool.
Wonderful.
B and I will make sure we stop by and say hi somewhere along the way. And other than that, where we'll be, right? Let's see here. Hey, Conserve Friends, welcome in. It says Hillary's idea of a village and yours is quite different. Yeah. Yep. That would be true. The ultimate probiotic yogurt maker. Yeah, let's see here. Dana Green says my rice cooker has a yogurt setting on it. I didn't even know such a thing. All right. What did you do?
Yeah, these are my goats. These are my little goats. Well, the little goats and then the big goat. The big goat was a freebie wether to keep the buck, to keep the buck company while we separate them in times of needing to be separated. So the solid black one with the white mohawk, that is my buck. And I named him Ace. And then the big guy, his name is Willie. He has a bright pink collar on. But Willie, he's two. He came with his name. And Willie reminded me of your dad's dog. Well, and he had a horse named Willie too. And so the goat reminded me of your dad. And that's why I named the buck Ace, because, well, your dad had a big...
Yeah, his main horse they called Ace. It wasn't his legal name, but that's what they called him. His main stud. But
what was his legal name?
Loping Slow.
Why did they call him Ace then?
I don't know how.
You gotta be kidding me. No. I thought it was gonna be some like long name, like Ace in the Hole, whatever.
No,
his name was Lopin Slow.
So how did getting the goats go? I mean, was it just all free and no issues or nothing?
It was like, no issues.
Really?
We pulled up there with the trailer, and we put Lou's goats in the front of the trailer, and then we put closed the separator, and then we put mine in the backside, and then they just drove over. When we were there, we just walked up. She had already had them separated into a pen, and she just picked them up and gave me one, and I carried it to the trailer and put it in. And she says, they don't let you pet them. They don't let you interact with them. If you have food, they'll come to you, like, here's some food. They'll come to you, but they're really skittish. So I've really been working with them in the barn. I gave them one stall, and that's the stall that I try to coax them into, and then I feed them a little bit of grain to like let them know that I'm not going to harm them. And then I catch them, and then I love on them, and they're like trying to get away, trying to get away, trying to get away, trying to get away. And I just sit there and hold them, love them, and hold them and love them until they quit struggling. And once they quit struggling, then I let go of the grip, and there's food in front of them. So they're just like eating, and they're like, okay, so I'm just going to sit here and eat.
So we had no issues.
No. And then we came home. And we were like, oh, well, our dogs have never been around goats, so we should probably introduce them. We put them in the barn, and right away they got out of their stall in the barn because there's just 3 rails, and these guys are, I don't know, how big would you say they are?
They're little.
Goats.
They're little.
They walked right through the wall.
The gate.
They
promised you they didn't walk through the wall.
It was the not the gate, the wall. They just walked right up and over it.
If you guys remember, in her barn, those stalls are built for cows, so there's just 3 big steel
rails.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah, they walked right up over the rail.
Yeah. Lazy Loper says an Instapot has a yogurt setting as well, but I need to keep a constant temp of 99 for Ruteri yogurt. Tulip Little Angel, welcome in. Says hello, everybody. B Yogo Therm, no electricity needed yogurt maker.
I'm gonna write that down. Yeah.
Let's see here. Lazy Loper says my super horse barn name is Willie. He was a slow loper. Yep. Yeah, my dad, Lazy Loper, I don't know if I ever told you this or not. My dad showed quarter horses all over the world. And he was very famous at it. Was very successful at it.
Maybe he was something else.
Yeah, he was an interesting cat. And then the VA murdered him, but that's another story.
That was a whole different
Jen says
side story.
Jen says you need to get a video of that, of you loving on the goats. I have not seen a short from you in a while, and you're supposed to be doing 2 a week.
I have a goat video, and I could not post it. It was literally them just laying there. They do nothing.
Hey, Suzanne Fritz says goats love animal crackers. You can make friends quickly if you get some crackers for them.
Oh, animal crackers.
Like the size of Violet? Oh, no.
No,
like the turkeys are bigger than the babies.
Yes, the turkeys are bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm having trouble trying to feed everybody because I don't want these guys in the turkey food because they'll overeat it. I don't want the turkeys in the chicken food because it's not good for them. And so I'm trying to put the chickens over on the outside of paddock 1, the turkeys inside paddock 1 at the fence line. And then I'm trying to take the goats way over to the barn. And then trying to keep their foods separated. It is not, but the animal crackers, that's a good idea because I could put a handful of those in my pocket and not have like oats. Although I have 2 barrels full of oats I need to like use up.
Lazy Lope says I do remember that in anything horse. MJ from Wisconsin, welcome in. I covered a pole farm gate with sections of chain link fence to keep the dogs in and the neighbor dogs out. It has worked well. And I've got a bunch of chain link too.
I used chicken wire because I was going to use field fencing, and Lou was like, I would not, because these are smaller than these guys.
I think the chain link would be great to put on your gates
Chain link.
because their holes are that big.
Yeah.
And you got big old rolls of it sitting over there in a pile.
Yeah, I would need help with that though. I can't.
You need help with getting a pair of pliers and opening
That also.
opening
And
a
opening
toolbox
the
door.
toolbox that's like welded shut.
Yeah. What do you?
I have no idea what that was. The dog
a
brought
mole.
that to me. And at first I didn't know what she was. It was making noises. And I was like, what is that? What is that? And then she came popping up around the corner. I'm like, what do you got? Drop it, drop it. But by then it was already too late. And then the other one, there was somebody laid an egg. I think they laid it on the side and then it rolled down into the
So
center.
you just got a lazy chicken or something, just letting them rip right there
on the perch on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to get my grippers, my long, like old lady grippers, and go try to reach that egg in the center of the yard or the baby pen.
Mm. I don't know if I like this advice or I don't, but Jen says grab one of Tag's dump pouches to put on your belt for goat snacks.
Yeah.
You know those little bags that roll up, you sit on your belt.
Oh, I was
little
thinking.
pouch and you hit a button and they go. Whoosh.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know if that's a good
I
idea.
thought she meant your tool bag.
Yeah, I think she meant like a military dump pouch, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I know we have those.
Yeah. Let's see here. Lover of Rampant says I would have paid to see that. Yeah, no, me too. B looks like the Pied Piper with the string of goats this afternoon. What's a Pied Piper?
Pied Piper.
Pied
Piper.
Out of
B look like the pipe.
It says Pied Piper.
Pied Piper. With a string of goats this afternoon. Yeah, is that Louise?
That's Gypsy.
That's Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Aren't those cool?
Yeah, when she got here today, she goes, I had to come and see what you were doing, those goats. She goes, mine won't even come to me. And I'm like, oh, I use food. And she goes, I've been trying too. And I was like, really? And so I was like, yeah, look, you just snatch them down. And then if you hold them, then they can't get away. Then they just have to let you love them.
Have to let
they have
you
to
love
let
them.
me love them. Let me love you. Yeah, aren't these so awesome?
Yeah, so one of the homestead
Cupcakes.
ladies who's really good at this kind of stuff. She made some cupcakes for some kids like werewolves. And dude, they were like really good.
They were amazing.
You know, like they were really, really,
She
really
used
good.
marshmallow and cut them to the shapes of the ears, and then she put chocolate frosting over them. And then the mouth is a marshmallow that she cut to, pop open. And then she lined the marshmallow with fruit roll up and then put little dots, the frosting, dripped it up, pulled it up to like make those teeth. That so creative. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, that was amazing. So we spent, a lot of the community did. I spent one day this weekend here. Some of the other community members spent 2 and 3 days there, just doing stuff, here and there. But we had someone who's coming to the community, and I'm not going to mention who it is, although they're in the chat, and if they want to, they're welcome to, and then I'll be free to talk about it. But anyway, they wanted to put up basically a tiny house. For them to begin their journey on as they went to work building the other house and all that kind of stuff. So a bunch of us jumped out here and just started framing. And you can see, they're still framing down there. I just thought I'd share some pictures with you guys. So there's pretty much the walls. I like this picture because this is as we started on the second floor. This building's got a loft on the 2 sides of the building. So we're just starting on one side of the, the ceiling up there.
Is that how tall the ceiling is the whole way?
Gypsy says that was Louise doesn't have her glasses on for spelling. So if it's Pied Piper, that makes a lot more sense. What were you saying, sorry?
Is that roof line the same the
Yeah.
whole way?
The whole way. Yep, it is all the same. Hey, look at that. My buddy Mo. Mo says, hey, I had a tractor pull tonight, but I thought I would say hi. Good to see you, bud. Mo, I talk to you all the time. We're always communicating about the craziness of the world. You know. Oh, Nitos, I'm sorry. You're not going to hate my answer. Hubby asked, so you guys don't need building plans to build? No, we do not. And in fact, here to build a house, you go get a permit and there's no inspections other than your septic. So there's no electrical inspection, no
inspection.
Yeah, none of that kind of stuff, you know, just a sewer inspection if you do a septic or a lagoon, and a building permit that they don't ever inspect again.
They do come out and measure.
Yeah, when you're done with it, they'll come out and measure the perimeter so that the size is what
you said it was.
You said it was.
So you can't go and say, hey, I want to put a building up that's, 20 by 20. And then they go out and they look and it's, 100 feet long.
I'm going to look here. I think maybe if it'll pull up here. Anyway, so yeah, we don't, sorry, Hack said, just finished day 7 for me. Yeah, I did 2 days when we built the foundation, and then I did 1 day on the weekend there. I wanted to see.
How tall are the sidewalls on the roof, on the top story?
So you got an 8-foot sidewall and then 4-foot edge wall. And so you're 22 inches from the top of that wall to the peak. So, you're 8, 12, about 13 and a half feet to the peak up there. So, which was pretty cool. And I think I was seeing if there were some updated pictures from the week, but you can see lots of people out there, being busy, which is good. That's Indiana Mike all the way at the top. And you guys know Yoda, and you know Garen, and you know Patty from Hacks. Daniel's in the back from Hacks. Hacks is in here, by the way. Hacks said the punch list is on Discord.
Joe. Is that Joe in the middle of the rafter?
And Jess is over there.
Oh, no, that's not Joe.
That's probably Joe.
Who's that down there then?
Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Looking at that car window, did you have a sandstorm? No, we live on dirt roads. It's impossible to keep things clean.
They came from Phoenix.
Yeah.
They brought that dust with them.
Yeah, so really cool. It was a good experience. This is the end of the day. And that's as far as we got that day. And the next day they would come back and they would finish the walls up top up there and finish putting the roof on. But it was really a pretty quick process, considering, to get something, kind of weather tight. But it, I think I got one more picture. Sorry. One more. There you go. It was in the daylight the next day.
A way to use the trailer.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with the hard way.
Platform.
Yeah. Much easier up and down like that. But anyway, those are the kind of things that I like to do in the community, is go build stuff like that, because it's to me it's fun. And everybody gets to hang out and torture each other, and
yeah, and it helps the community.
And it helps the community. Yep. So anyway, you didn't come out at all, did you?
No.
You were harvesting
that day. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I had help coming.
Yep, they built pod 1. They built pod 1, Love and Rampant. Yes, they did. Yep. And it'll be cool. It'll be good. And again, we're kind of short term, but we're just trying to get them out of the rain and out of the weather. Is they're up here, because you just get the roof on that, the plywood and the paper up there. You can live in it. It won't be exciting.
It won't be great.
No, but you'll keep you out of the rain. Right. And the temperatures now, you're getting down into the 50s at night and, 70s and 80s during the day. That's perfect temperature for that, So you just got to keep going. Right?
Well, and you can keep working on it throughout the winter too.
Yeah. Gary Davis says, here in Madison County, we used to have house raisings. Yeah, I wish we'd get back to some of that stuff. That's probably the biggest highlights I've had in this whole community experience has been in those kinds of things, building a house or, watching something big go up like that. Because you get enough people on there, at the end of the day 1, there's a lot done.
Yeah. Which
is really, really exciting. I think anyway. Let's see here. All right. So you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this or not. I showed it once in a video a long, long time ago, just kind of in passing. but many of you probably don't know this about me. When I was younger, I used to like to build cars. And so, I built several Camaros, and, I had an S10 pickup once that we put an LT1 engine in. That was fun. Some of those kind of things. It was fun. But anyway, I've got a project I've been working on for a few years. I just don't get to it very much. So I have a 1973 Chevy Crew Cab 1-ton pickup. And I've never built a pickup like this, like a 4-wheel drive pickup. So this is going to be a fun experiment. But this week, the cab got painted. Well, it got jammed. Not totally painted, but it got jammed.
Got jammed.
They call it jammed. Yeah. And so we're beginning to assemble it back together. And we took this truck, and anyway, I'll go through some pictures with you guys, but it's not an old truck anymore. We put a big fuel injected 6-liter in it. It's got a super modern, transmissions and, all of the things that go into it, digital dash and, all that stuff. And I just work on a little bit here and a little bit there. This is actually at my buddy's shop, but that's the truck before the cab got removed.
Ain't she a beauty?
Ain't she a beauty? Oh, she is a beauty.
But you can't just wait to drive that.
You can't see it, but I'm going to tell you something, babe. They don't make them like this anymore. This truck is a rare find. It's a 1973, which ironically is the same age as me. So I'm really excited about building me like the ultimate farm truck. So one of the things I did is I went and got these modern engines are computer controlled, as you guys know, but you can actually have a lot of the computer deleted. And so I took the computer that was going to run this truck. I took it down and had all the GPS removed, had everything that I could legally remove off of the computer. I had taken off of the computer. So what was pretty much was left on is just what it took to run the vehicle, which I'm super excited about. But
so they have all the like automatic windows, automatic door locks.
Oh yeah. So this is actually the engine. This is a modern fuel injected 6-liter LQ9. They would have typically put these in like a 3/4 ton Cadillac Escalade or something like that. So it's a 6-liter. And fuel injected. It ought to be a whole bunch of fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I thought tonight I could just show you guys some pictures. There's the cab. You can kind of see it if you look in the background back there, how the dash is painted.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm painting it root beer brown because I like that color. And there's actually a whole story to brown and me. But anyway, so we got that done. That's before they cleared the dash. There's the firewall, right? So the cab's now completely removed. All the body work's done. This is again before the clear coat. You can't see it very good. That's the firewall.
Yeah, you can't really see it very well. It's like in the shadow.
Crunchy Mama says that thing's a beast. Yeah, I cannot wait to get it up and going. I've spent so much money on it already. So basically a 400 CI-ish, with the 5.7B at 350. Yep. And again, it would have been out of like a 3/4 ton Cadillac. They put some of them, I think, in the GMCs too. What makes it kind of special is the 6-liter, but it's a cast block with aluminum heads. And then they had the LQ4, which was all aluminum. Anyway, I don't want to get too nerdy on you guys, but I'm very excited. We got that's the underside of the cab. So it's been completely taken care of and completely undercoated.
That's not the same root beer brown.
No, that's undercoating. That's black undercoating.
Like just
so that we put that cab back down on there, that there's, no issues. And we went through it. And for any of you car junkies out there, we went through it and took all the seam sealer out, re-seam sealed everything. There's not a speck of rust on it, not one. I replaced every panel that needed to be replaced. And so anyway, that's what, obviously different color, but that's the truck when it's done. Different color.
Yeah.
In root beer brown.
Root beer brown, which is like a brownish, reddish.
Dark though.
Yeah.
It's a dark brown. But I'm excited about it. I don't know if I ever told you guys the story of special operations equipment and John Willis. But he asked me one day when I was down there, he's like, you like to shoot and all. I'm like, yeah, I do all that stuff. And he was asking about what kind of equipment that I use. And I always told him, hey, if you ever make a set of, dark brown, you let me know and I will be a customer. And I didn't think much of it. And then the 3rd or 4th time that I spoke at SRF, I walked in and he said, hey, I made you something, and gave me a special operations equipment, chest rig, backpack, a whole bunch of stuff in dark brown, which is, again, there's a story to all of that. But anyway, super excited about getting her finished. might take 3 more years, but Dana Green says, made of steel, not fiberglass, right? Yep, all steel. Yep, all steel. Pretty brown, not that poo color they have on trucks nowadays. No, it's actually a metallic root beer brown that they would have put on these back in the day.
Metallic.
Back in the day. Anyway. Okay, so moving on to the solar issues. So you guys know that I've been working on getting a solar system.
Cut off.
Yeah, I just did that so you could see the lever.
Oh.
So most of you guys know the story. I had a battery melt down. Instead of investing in new batteries, I took the money and replaced the whole system and put a grid down system in. I already had one at the community building, but my system at the house was a Snyder, which there's nothing wrong with. Great brand. But what I had to start with is I had to bring a transfer switch in, because what I wanted to do was, as I was removing the home system, I wanted to tie into the community building system so the house had power. And then we would run on the community building system while I was putting in the system. And so we went and trenched a line, brought the power up from the community building, got it hooked up to the house. But now, since I have it up here, I really want to be able to, if one system's getting low, just go turn a switch and start running on the other system. So we wired both systems to this transfer switch. You guys can see that green handle over there. So all we have to do, like right now, it's in the position to run the house system. If you throw it down to the bottom down there, it would be running the community building system.
Well, you'd want to stop in the middle, right?
Well, you would just turn it off. You wouldn't have either.
But could you just go bam to the very bottom, or do you have to stop in the middle?
No, you could, especially if you do it like I tell you to do it, which is shut the main breaker off and work it back on. You'd be fine,
okay.
Anyway, this is big for us. So we go from 30.4 kilowatt hours of battery storage to 108 kilowatt hours of battery storage.
A little bit more.
Yeah, it's a lot more. And, our old system would get us through, 362 days a year, right? There was just those days where we were just going to have to live without power because, it had been dark for too long, not enough sun for too long, or whatever it was.
We really didn't go days without power. It wasn't like that. It would cut off in the nighttime, and then in the daytime it would
take a little while.
But there were days that we would have to go and kill power to like his shop, or to his shop and my shop, because we're not out there anyway. So having the electricity just being pushed out there, not being used when we needed it to shoebox away for who knows how long, then we did that. But there were not days where we were without power.
But we would lose power.
Yes, we did lose power.
3 or 4 days a year, we would lose it. And so, but this will pretty much make it where the days of the red days are about over for Tag and B. We might still get into some yellows, but I would imagine that we pretty much have fixed the problem.
It is a much different system.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah. It charges faster, which is weird. I don't know why, because you said it's low voltage.
No, it's high voltage, low amperage.
Yeah, that.
You were close though. Hey, real quick, Hippocrates says, I got a 86 3/4 ton and need to get back on my 47 Chrysler fat fender car. And Nito says, my father, brother, and I did a 61 Ford pickup restoration for my brother's graduation gift. Oh, the memories. Yeah, I really like working on cars. But the good news is it is in.
Look how beautiful that looks.
Yep.
What are those holes?
Those were from the old system. So I just got to go out there and fix them. But I had wires coming in from those 3 holes on the old system that I didn't need on the new system. So, but I figured it would be fine to get the power up and running. And
yeah, look how pretty it is.
Yeah. So it is 100% in. It's all commissioned. It's all doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So now Bee's got a app on her phone that she can look between the 2 systems and decide what to do with them, right?
Yeah, just kind of keep track of them. I'm still learning them. So how fast they charge, how much I'm using, because in the old system, I don't know. The conversion rate is different. And so when I would go and turn on an air conditioner, it would show me what it was using. And then now on the app, it shows me what I'm using, but it's not the same as what the other one would show me. So it's not a different air conditioner. So I don't know obviously it's the system that's different, but I'm just learning it.
Yeah.
It's, what takes how much power. Now our house typically is about 280 watts is what we're using without
if you have nothing on.
Yeah. So like if the refrigerator is not running, if the pump's not running, the water's not running, nothing's running, there's no lights on in the house, there's no fans or air conditioners, nothing's on, just the ambient, like what's the, plugged in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It says like 200, it's like under 300 watts to where before it was about 580 watts. So
Both can't be right.
This says that we're actually using less than what we used to use. So I don't know.
Yep.
I'm glad.
Yeah, we are definitely excited. Nito says one of these days we may get to see that here. Oh, you will.
It will. We are going to put into the universe that it will be
now
this year.
Yeah, yes. It better be this year. It better be this month.
Is that they're that close?
It's the 20. It's the 29th. Better be anyway. Yeah.
That they will get it in.
Yeah. So I had to wire in a little breaker box, and what that's for is the generator. So I have a 19,000 watt whole house generator that'll wire directly into the grid downs. But what you got to do is you've got to run a separate feed into each inverter. And so I had to create a combiner box. And so basically that little breaker box, all that is the wires coming in from the generator, running to two 370 amp breakers, and then to two 70 amp breakers, and then running in through the system into both inverters.
So that's for the generator.
That is for the generator. That's so I was just making a combiner box. You could do it a lot of different ways. Like you wouldn't necessarily need a breaker there, but breakers are nice to have everywhere. It allows you to isolate and allows you to shut off and all of that. The big breaker box to the right, that's just 110 power, 240 power. I got 100 amp service in this building, and there's a part of this building. Me and B have always thought about building her a brooder room. That all it's for is brooding and raising the baby birds at the beginning of the year, because oh man, it takes up a lot. Huh?
Yeah, and it stinks, and it's in the house, and it's feathers and fur and yuck stuff.
So anyway, I wanted to make sure I had enough power that we could run anything that she would want to run there, and so it's sitting there waiting. All I got to do is tie into it, and off we go, which I'm fairly excited about. Last thing I have left to do on it is, if you look at that very first picture, that's the solar panels coming into the building. I've ordered a combiner box for them and some other things. The way I want to do it, this is where I'll put the EMP shields, will be here. And so anyway, I ordered them. I'm just waiting on them to show up, and then I'll tackle that project right there. But basically I'm looking for what's on the right, that allows me to bring all of the panels in. There's breakers, there's surge protection on them. There's all of that stuff. It wouldn't be this exact one because I don't want the black plugs on the bottom, but beyond it'll be something similar to this.
Okay.
And you ordered the box and the breakers for me already, right?
I guess that's what
that's an Amazon thing was, right?
Yeah, I ordered that.
You did. Okay, good. Reminder, I'll be at the Self-Reliance Festival on October 4th and 5th. I'd love to see everybody down there in Tennessee. We're going to be talking about how the system lies to us and what real freedom actually looks like. And I'm looking forward to meeting Brooke Whipple, who's the lady in the middle picture. And I've met Dr. Ken Berry before, but I'm looking forward to meeting and hanging out with all of them. And one of my good buddies is going to go with me, so I get to have buddy time for a couple days as we drive down to Tennessee and back.
Bro time.
Yeah, get a little bit of bro time. So that'll be really cool. And then I follow that up November 15th and 16th at Crunchy Mama Farms, where the same buddy's going to go with me, I think.
More bro time.
Yep. And we're going to go down and we're going to have a good conversation there and meet lots of good people. And this will be a good one for me because I've spoken in a lot of places, but I've never spoken Texas.
Yeah.
So this will be the first time I've been there. So I'm totally looking forward to it. And, I know Sean and Amy, decently. I've been around them a lot. Super good people doing the super right thing, trying to influence their local schools, trying to do the right thing. And it's hard, but we need these freedom warriors everywhere. So it was honored. It was an honor to me to go down there and speak there. And, anybody out there who's willing to actually get in the fight, I am 100% open and willing to come and do whatever I can do to help push that movement. You agree?
Yes. And
Sure.
I will hold down the fort.
And you will hold down the fort. So what else? Anything else interesting going on before I get to the good news? Which we are going to actually get to good news tonight. We have not gotten to good news in two lives. We're actually going to get to one. That's good because I got some stuff I want to rant about.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, what else is coming up for us? I'm going to go help a buddy tomorrow. You're going to make ketchup.
Ketchup.
Right? You got fields to mow.
I will not get to that tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow. You
But
got
yes, I do.
elderberry to harvest.
I'm kind of holding off on the big fields right now because it's not done growing. It's not done growing season. So I'm trying to kind of.
Yeah, but you want to be, babe. You want to make sure you get out there and get all those tops cut off before the Lespedeza goes to seed.
Yes.
That's what you're racing.
Yes.
You know, and if you do that, you know, let's see here. Nito says, I understand that. We put in a chicken shed that holds the brooder and all of the feed and chicken stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
chicken shed.
Yeah, this is a good thing for us because where we're at, you know, her chicken coop has solar power, but just for lights and a pump. You know, just little stuff. But doing it the way we're about to do it, she's about to have all the available power she'll need for whatever she needs. So she could run 3 incubators at a time, 3 brooders at a time. She'd be able to do all of those kinds of things.
Yep.
And be still fairly close to the house and fairly secure, you know, from the other animals and, you know, those kind of things. Right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
You want to get some good news?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. So you guys probably heard this week that President Trump signed an executive order directing the Department of Justice to pursue 1 year in prison for those who burn American flags in the street. Yep. He went on to say you'll get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. 1 year in jail if you burn the flag. What it does is incite a riot. So there's lots of problems with all of this, and I'm sure many of you guys know there's also lots of opinions. You know, there are people who say that no, this executive order only applies to non-citizens, and other people say no, it absolutely applies, and you shouldn't be able to do it. And other people say it violates the First Amendment rights, and that there's standing court cases. So I thought, with your guys' permission, what we could do tonight is let's look at the executive order itself. Let's look at what it says. And then let's see what kind of case study we can find for it. I can tell you that I would never burn an American flag. I was a soldier and, you know, I lost friends. So at the end of the day, I would never do it. However, I would absolutely stand up for someone's right to address their government and to protest their government. And a protest and the First Amendment goes beyond just words. And so I am incredibly opposed to this from a freedom perspective. But let's take a deep look at it. So here's the actual, probably should go back one. Here's the actual executive order. By authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose. Our great American flag is the most sacred and cherished symbol of the United States of America and of American freedom, identity, and strength. Over nearly 2.5 centuries, many thousands of American patriots have fought, bled, and died to keep the stars and stripes waving proudly. The American flag is a special symbol in our national life that should unite and represent all Americans of every background and walk of life. Desecrating it is uniquely offensive and provocative. It is a statement of contempt, hostility, and violence against our nation. Clearest possible expression of opposition to the political union that preserves our rights. So this is so important, what he said right here. He's saying that burning the flag is the clearest possible expression of opposition to the political union that preserves our rights, liberty, and security. So let's get something super clear. Okay? The political union does not preserve our rights, our liberties, or our security that was guaranteed to us by our creator through the Constitution. And in fact, I would even go further to say that the Constitution didn't place any rules or laws upon the civilian base. What it did is it presented rules and laws for the governors themselves. So right there, I would completely be opposed. And if I wasn't going to do a live, I probably would have stopped reading it right there. But I think this is a big statement, right? That that the political union preserves the right. Burning this is representative of America may entice violence or riot. Here's another very important sentence. So by burning the flag, it may incite to violence or riot. May. Isn't that an interesting choice of words? So is this like thought crime stuff now where you can get in trouble for something, before it actually happened? American flag burning is also used by foreign nationals as a calculated act to intimidate and threaten violence against U.S. citizens because of their nationality and place of birth. Notwithstanding the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling on the First Amendment protections, the court has never held that the American flag desecration conducted in a manner that is likely to incite imminent lawless action. Okay, so here's another big important sentence. He says that the court has never held that the American flag's desecration conducted in a manner that is likely to incite imminent lawless action. So who determines likely and imminent? That's what I want to know, right? Or that it is an action amounting to fighting words. So fighting words. So didn't we say sticks and stones would break our bones, but words would never hurt us? When is fighting words a crime? I thought we were protected by the First Amendment and could say whatever we wanted to say. Anyway, he goes on to say it's constitutionally protected. See Texas versus Johnson, 491 U.S. 397408-10 from 1989, which we'll take a look at. My administration will act to restore respect and sanctity to the American flag and prosecute those who incite violence or otherwise violate our laws while desecrating the symbol of our country to the fullest extent permissible under any available authority. So I think this sentence is super interesting too. So first of all, they said that they will prosecute, let me find that exact sentence here, that they will prosecute those who incite. So those who incite, you notice they did not just name one type of person. They just didn't say Russians. They didn't say that. They just said those who, which would tell me everybody. Also, to the fullest extent of permissible under any available authority is a very interesting statement to me too, because what I read into that is they're saying, well, we may not be able to get it under the First Amendment, but we could maybe get it under the guise of we're going to incite a riot or they were an unlawful burning or whatever, right? Not necessarily under the First, which tells me they're going to try to skate the First Amendment, which also, in my opinion, is bad. Moving on. Oops. Okay, so that's pretty much what it says. That's weird. I thought I had one more. Oh, no. Okay, so let's look at this Texas versus Johnson. I did not finish the executive order, but I wanted to insert this because it referenced it. So Texas versus Johnson in 1989 is a landmark decision by the Supreme Court of the United States in which the court held 5-4 that burning the flag of the United States was protected speech under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, and doing so counts as symbolic speech and political speech. In the case, activist Gregory Lee Johnson was convicted for burning an American flag during a protest outside the 1984 Republican National Convention in Dallas, Texas, and was fined $2,000 and sentenced to 1 year in jail in accordance with Texas law. Justice William Brennan wrote for the 5-justice majority that Johnson's flag burning was protected under the freedom of speech, and therefore the state could not censor Johnish nor punish him for his actions. The ruling invalidated laws against desecrating the American flag, which at the time was enforced in 48 of 50 states. The ruling was unpopular with the general public and lawmakers, with President George H.W. Bush calling flag burning dead wrong. The ruling was challenged by Congress, which passed the Flag Protection Act later that year, making flag desecration a federal crime. The law's constitutionality was contested before the Supreme Court, which again affirmed in the United States versus Ekman 1990 that flag burning was a protected form of free speech and struck down the Flag Protection Act as violating the First Amendment. So if you go back to the slide, he was talking about how, let's see here, notwithstanding the Supreme Court's ruling on the First Amendment protections, the court has never held that the American flag desecration conducted in a manner that is likely to incite, that's the key right there, conducted in a manner to incite imminent lawless action, or that is an action amounting to fighting words. Let's get some comments here real quick before I go on. Soldiers fought for those people's right to burn if they want. Anyone who served would say the same thing, my hubby included, 100%. I don't like it. I think it's tacky. I would never do it. I think that there's symbolism there, but freedom only works if it works for everybody. You can't just argue one side and say, oh, I really love freedom as long as you believe what I believe. That would just make you a hypocrite. And Love Runs Rampant says they preserve nothing. I agree. Hey, Mandy from Permatopia Farms. How are you? I hope everything's good. Nito said, in my opinion, this also elevates the American flag to idol status, not what the founding fathers had in mind. Jen says, I think it's distasteful to burn any country's flag. That being said, if they want to make a statement, whatever. Yeah, I 100% agree. Again, I would not do it. But at the same time, I think it's important that we stand up to it. Here's the rest of the executive order. Section 2, measures to combat desecration of the American flag. The Attorney General shall prioritize the enforcement to the fullest extent possible of our nation's criminal and civil laws against acts of the American flag desecration that violate applicable content-neutral laws while causing harm unrelated to expression. Okay, so who is going to be able to decide for us whether it was away from and unrelated to expression? Right? Violent crimes, hate crimes, illegal discrimination against American citizens, or other violations of American civil rights and crimes against property. This part I love. We don't want crimes against property. You should not be able to burn the American flag underneath someone's fence and they lose their fence. That would be removing rights of somebody else. I would not support that, and they should go to jail for property damage, right? In cases where the Department of Justice or other executive department or agency determines that an instance of American flag desecration may violate an applicable state or local law, such as open burning restrictions, disorderly conduct laws, or destruction of property laws, the agency shall refer the matter to the appropriate state or local authorities for potential action. Okay, so what they're saying is that if you violate an open burning restriction, disorderly conduct law, or destruction of private property, they will press charges. Well, they already do that, so that's nothing new, right? I don't understand how burning an American flag has to do with these laws that are already on the books. Anyway, to the maximum extent permitted by the Constitution, the Attorney General shall vigorously prosecute those who violate our laws in ways that involve desecrating the American flag. Again, it's important to hear the words, right? To the maximum extent permissible by the Constitution, the Attorney General shall vigorously prosecute those is a super important word, who violate our laws. It does not say right there that only non-citizens or only, which is the claims that are being made across the internet. That's not what it says. Vigorously prosecute those who violate our laws, and may pursue litigation to clarify the scope of the First Amendment exceptions in this area. There are no First Amendment exceptions. So I won't read the rest of it because the rest of it is just who's going to pay for it and where the money's going to come from and all of those kind of things. But it was interesting. As soon as he put it down, a veteran went right in front of the Capitol building and lit a flag on fire, right? Because that's just how Americans roll. They arrested him as they promised they would. And yesterday he was out of jail. So we'll see what happens. Does it really stick? I don't have any idea, but I think it took a whole bunch of courage to go stand there and do that. Again, I wouldn't, but in front of the Capitol building, hours after Trump signed an executive order. Burning the American flag is protected speech under the First Amendment. Being an advocate of free speech is recognizing and advocating for all speech to be free, even that which you disagree with. Yeah. Being an advocate of free speech is recognized. I already read that one, didn't I? Yeah. Those who advocate for laws against flag burning are anti-American, and I think I agree with this. Let's see here. Love Runs Rampant says, who's clarifying the scope? Not who should and sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, these words they're so left up to definition. Who the hell knows? Right? This is why I've always had this argument about, people with mental disorders and owning guns. Yeah. It's the same argument. Who's to say they're mental? That's right. That's absolutely right. So you're letting an unelected official like a doctor remove someone's constitutional rights? Oh, yeah, that's not going to end well. Let's see here. Crunchy Mama Farm says it starts here, then the slippery slope takes us where it takes us. That's right. Slippery slope. That's right. And we have to stand up for even the things we disagree with, which, guys, I'm telling you, I adamantly disagree with this. I would not do it. And I would look down upon anybody who did. However, I support the right to do it. Nito said, I also don't think it's right that burning the Palestinian flag is not illegal, but the American flag is. Also, you can burn the Bible, but it's illegal to burn the Quran, not equal. I would argue that burning the Palestinian flag in the Quran is an act of free speech, no different than burning anything else. To include the guy, I think it was from Minnesota, who got like 8 years in prison for burning a gay pride flag.
Wow.
Yeah, like probably a whole nother story. But Jen says, I'm under the opinion that expression has gotten way out of hand. I shouldn't be shocked by the commitment to absurdity, but here I am. Yeah, I agree. Michael Conley, hello, welcome in, says, put the flag burners in a jury trial and see what the people say. Well, you know what? I agree with that on its premise, but I think the one challenge of that is, well, I guess they accept that when they burn the flag. Say you take them out, you take them away from the job, you put them in jail, they got to find bond, you got to, for something that's for a right that's guaranteed. So it's almost like lawfare in a lot of ways, right? You run up the bill and then, they let them go or whatever it is, right? So, yeah, that's interesting. Let's see here. Hey, All-American Prepper. Welcome in, buddy. How are you? Hope Little Miss Prepper's good. And Love Rod's Rampant says, depends on the people. Going further, let's see here. Garrett says, I'm going to say my 2 cents about the flag burning executive order. Originally, I thought this would be struck down, but upon further review, Texas versus Johnson protects symbolic speech. The executive order is utilizing a different case, Brandenburg versus Ohio, which the court ruled that inflammatory speech could be. So background, Clarence Brandenburg, in this case, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, was convicted under Ohio's criminal syndication statute for advocating violence during a KKK rally. The statute prohibited advocating for crime, sabotage, or violence as a means of achieving political reform. Brandenburg's speech includes threats of revengeance against various groups and called for a march on Congress. He was fined $1,000 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Brandenburg appealed this conviction, arguing that the Ohio law violated the First and 14th Amendment to the right to free speech. The key legal question on whether the Ohio statute, which broadly prohibited mere advocacy of violence, was constitutional. The U.S. Supreme Court reversed Brandenburg's conviction, ruling that the Ohio law was unconstitutional. The court went on then to establish a two-pronged test for speech. Then the Supreme Court ruled that speech can be prohibited if it is directed at inciting or producing imminent lawless action. This is crazy to me. So this is like thought crimes again. Guys, you just like yelling bomb in a theater. You can do it. Now, that doesn't leave you free of the consequences of yelling it. Right?
Right.
I mean, this is the thing. These laws are already on the books. If you go and your speech incites violence, you're going to be in trouble. Right? So I don't think that just the symbolism of burning the flag does any of that. Let's see here. Judge Napolitano was talking to Justice Antonin Scalia. Anyway, he says, if I were king, I would not allow people to go about burning the American flag. However, we have the First Amendment, which says that the right of free speech shall not be abridged. And it is addressed in particular to speech critical of the government. I mean, that was the main kind of speech that tyrants would seek to suppress. Burning the flag is a form of expression. Speech doesn't just mean written words or oral words. It could be a semaphore. And burning the flag is a symbol that expresses that idea of I hate the government or the government is unjust, whatever. That's just saying we dislike the government. It's not arguing people to take up arms against the government. That's something quite different, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Hey, AK Amber, welcome in. Says, good evening, Tag and B. I trust you both are well. Yep, I love the cooler weather. Me too. I have a fire every night. Stew time. Things seem to be getting heated out there.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they are. Let's see here. And Jen says, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Aaron Rand. Perfect quote. This is, I think, is exactly what it's saying, is that you are free. You have free will. Right? At the end of the day, me and Mo got into this big conversation about, are people free to murder? And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. They're free to do whatever they want. They're just not free of the consequences of it. Right? Mm. And it's a hard thing to kind of swallow, I think, a little bit. So let's just compare it against the First and 13th, which is the argument in this case. First Amendment says as Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Right? The 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor in, why did I put the 13th Amendment? I thought it was the 14th. Yeah, forget that. Apparently. Anyway, I think it clearly violates the First Amendment, would be my opinion. Let's see here. No one can say, oh, they told me to do it, so I did it. So true that if someone makes you mad and makes you rage, that's not your fault. What a crazy world. Oh, my goodness, isn't it? Absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, our kids are being taught in school, and never mind.
Upside down.
Never
Backwards.
mind. Okay, so real quick, I thought one other big point, I think, to the executive order that makes it not constitutional is that it's in an executive order. I'm sure many of you guys know this, but our government's made up of three branches of government: the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch. The executive branch does not make laws. That duty is given to the legislative branch, and only they can make laws. So the executive order, what a president can do is he can make rules and that the executive branch has to follow, but he cannot make rules that apply to the citizens. So even in that, an executive order is not a law. Okay, it's coming out of the executive branch. So in my opinion, this executive order is too far reaching. It reaches people it's not supposed to according to the Constitution, and it violates our First Amendment rights of free speech. Right? It's just what it does. And I'm opposed to it in every manner. I do not recommend going to burn a flag. I would not do it. I think it would be tacky. But at the same time, I think we should be standing up for those people who want to express themselves however they want to express themselves, but they are not free of the consequences of expressing themselves. Right? I mean, someone can walk up to me, to my face, and say something very, very rude, and they are going to risk being punched in the mouth. Right?
Yeah. Or they can call themselves a cat.
You can do that.
They're just not free of the consequences.
Yep.
Pooping in a box.
Yep. Absolutely. Just crazy. Other interesting news. So Howard Lutnick, which is the Secretary of Commerce, reveals he will now seek to have the United States federal government own a portion of the patents currently owned by the universities as a result of new inventions. So the government is going to take intellectual property and own it from the universities. He went on to say, if we give them the money, don't you think it's fair the U.S. and taxpayers who funded it get a piece of that? They invent things. You know who owns those patents? The universities. We are going to make a deal with all of them. This is nationalizing the education system, right? And I mean, this is saying this is our property. And I know that all of you out there really believe that when the government takes that intellectual property, they're going to use it for the betterment of the world.
Right.
They're going to use it to make people freer. They're going to use people to be less hungry and to get homeless off the street. They're going to use it to create peace all over the world, right?
No.
Jen said, there's the rub. Executive order regulations and such are not law, yet citizens are subject to fines, fees, and penalties, which now you're going to get into a whole nother, the Fifth Amendment, right? Which I think it's the Fifth Amendment. Yeah, that's you can't be held or put in jail over capital crimes, but don't pay that fine. Watch what happens. Right. So I think there's a big clash coming here, guys. I think big lines are being drawn every day in the sand. And I think a lot of this is coming to head. And, it's still the deep state. And I know a lot of people on here are going to completely disagree with me, but I don't see how it's really any different between parties. I think it's still just more of the same, just a little bit different flavor. So, Howard Lutnick was also Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor for many years and is now talking about nationalizing multiple defense contractors. So not only are we going to nationalize the public education system, we're going to nationalize the defense contractors, right? He went on to brag about 600,000 Americans are not going to better schools and instead flooding us with Chinese immigrants. And there's more, right? As you guys probably heard this a week or so ago, President Trump announced the United States would be taking a 10% stake in the chip maker Intel. And so they're going to take ownership of the company some of the company Intel. And you might say, oh, well, 10%. 10% ain't very big. Did you guys know who Gordon Earl Moore is? That's the biggest individual shareholder for Intel, which, by the way, owns 3.95%.
Wow.
So the federal government is going to take more than 2 times the size of the largest shareholder in the company. Yeah, and I think there's some interesting points here. I mean, would that not make the other chip companies say that's unfair? Yeah. Do you think the government will vote to benefit their investment? Or they'll just keep an open playing ground? They can be objective, right?
Of course not.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Yep. And this is how it starts. One thing at a time. After the outrage fades, another thing will be taken. Everyone sits back thinking, well, it isn't them. After everything has been taken, they will come to you. And at that point, there will be no outrage because there's no one left to rage. This is how autocracy and change into dictatorships. And I created a list for you guys on the right-hand side. These are already federally owned. So, there's all kinds of things from the Commodity Credit Corporation to the Federal Farm Bank to the Federal Home Loan Bank to the Millennium Challenge Corporation to the National Cooperative Bank to the Overseas Private Investment Corporation. Think about that. The Overseas Private Investment Corporation is owned by the federal government. Isn't that an oxymoron?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Why would they own that?
Yeah. Absolutely insane. Nito says, yeah, this one is going to end up in the Supreme Court. Yeah. Maybe a civil war is on the horizon. Boy, I hope not. Lover and Dram said, shit, I didn't hear that one. Yeah. A teacher that converted the Honda to run off water had it all confiscated by the school as he was under contract when they turned his car into the project with the students. It all went away. Of course it did. Hey, Tim, what's up? Says perfect time and made it for the good news. What does taking mean? Investing or acquiring like Comrade? Yeah. So, I mean, again, they are purchasing it, but they're purchasing it for money already spent. They're saying, hey, we invested like the Chips for America Act under Biden, who gave Intel, $6 billion. So what they want for that, they want ownership in Intel. They're saying, we already paid you, give us the stock. We're going to be owners. The American people are going to be owners. But I think with this goes down a very dangerous rabbit hole. When the federal government owns private industry, 2 things happen. 1, those private industries turn into the monopolies. 2, the little mom and pop goes away forever, right? Because you'll never be able to compete with them. When they can take your money to fight you, you're going to lose that fight 100% of the time. Yeah. Yep. Crunchy Mama Farm says, so if government controls everything, we'll get better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not usually.
Yeah. I know there's people out there with hope. Well, and at the end of the day, hope is a good thing. But
hope is a good thing.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Faith.
G. Johns, how are you? Says none of those enterprises are publicly traded, though, like Intel. Yeah, Intel's a big one. And I think not just Intel, but any of the defense contractors, Raytheon, Boeing, any of those, kinds of things. There's AI company stuff going on now where they're taking over some of the AI stuff. And I agree with you. This is the next level of, elevation. Lover and Drampet says, what happened to agreeing to terms ahead of time? Government doesn't need to. No, they don't have to play by the rules. Right. They come in and just make the deal, and that's the deal, and you're just going to like it because frankly, there isn't anything you can do about it. I mean, the truth is, let's say you're totally pissed about this. What are you going to do? Nothing. Right. Not a thing. You can complain. You can get on social media. You can bitch to your neighbors. But what can you really do about it? Not a thing. The only thing we have to do is to get involved at our local level and do the best we can. Build community. Yes. Work on becoming, self-sufficient. Right?
Yes.
That's what we can do. This stuff, although I report on it, there's nothing I can do. All right. Again, we talked a little bit about division, and I think our country's more divided now than it's ever been in history. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but it looks like there are charges going to be filed against potentially Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and a lot of the people from that camp. And they're fighting back, though, right? I mean, they tried to put Trump in jail. Some people argue they tried to assassinate him. I mean, so there's World War III is already happening. It's just happening at the deep state level, and you've got governments fighting behind the scenes in a covert manner. And so Real Robert reported that Barack Obama attempted to overthrow the United States government in 2016 as part of a treasonous conspiracy, overthrew it in 2020 to cover it up. And now he's been caught. No one ever expected that a former president, and this is according to Tulsi Gabbard, would expose it all. And this is just the beginning. I think this is an interesting point. You know, if Trump was the good guy, and I'm saying if, because I'm not so sure I believe that, but if he was the good guy, and they go, excuse me, and raid Mar-a-Lago, they try to throw him in jail, and they get him with, 30 some felonies. They try to assassinate him. Then he gets elected and he goes, well, watch this.
No, right.
Right.
I make the rules.
Yeah. Watch this. You like playing this game? I'm going to play this game on you. And he's just turned the tides and gone back to him. Or I think there's something even worse going on, which is this is a real struggle for the fight of the American, country and society as we know it. And you got two factions fighting behind the scenes as we, continue to watch Kardashians and keep our eyes, peeled on the Epstein list or whatever it is. Let's see here. Jen says, I can try to get out as much as possible. Yep. Anything the government gets their hands into becomes more expensive and the only item available. Yeah, it's interesting. We do get a menu in our country, don't we? But who makes the menu? Right? He's just a pawn and the wizard behind the curtains. I agree. Bosses, same. Little guy gets pooped on. Yep. I totally 100% agree. General Mike Flynn went on to say that we are living in what I call the third arc of the American history, a period as consequential as the American Revolution and the U.S. Civil War. Today, the threats we face are not only abroad, but also here at home. Infiltration, radical ideologies, and forces that seek to dismantle the very foundation of our constitutional republic. I've spent years at war overseas, but I have come to realize the most significant battle is right here. Fought not with weapons, but with courage, conviction, and truth. This is not just the Donald Trump's fight, nor the fight for those who have worn the uniform. Each of us has a responsibility. Don't simply ask what others are doing. Ask yourself, what am I doing to serve my country now? This is an existential moment for America. New York City, our nation's bellwether, is a warning sign. Our borders, our sovereignty, and our freedoms are all under attack. We are not powerless. We must come together, take decisive action, and safeguard the future of our beloved nation. The future of America will not be decided by the deep state, the globalists, or the foreign powers. It will be decided by we the people. And I could not agree with that more. But what it's going to take is a whole bunch of people standing up.
A whole bunch of we.
There's a whole bunch of we. That's right. Just like the ants and the grasshoppers. If the ants ever figure it out, the grasshoppers are in big trouble. So Trump again continues to strike. He has now revoked Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. So now Kamala Harris no longer gets Secret Service agents, and she has to, I guess, stand on her own. Donald Trump, as you guys probably noticed, has nationalized the National Guard and the police in Washington, D.C. to control crime rate. And he goes on to talk about Chicago, Baltimore, and L.A. And he goes on to say, Chicago's a mess. We'll straighten that one out probably next. The people of Chicago are screaming for us to come. Let's see here. Comments real quick. Dana Green says, not so good, but if they haven't got rid of him by now, there is nothing to find, but he is still the one of them. So sad. Love Runs Rampant said, just get ready though, Trump and the false peace. He is trying and yelling peace, peace, but I don't think they are listening. And Conserve Friend says, nothing to see in any of this. After all, according to MSM, Taylor Swift has become engaged. Yeah, that's true. Governor J.B. Pritzker, which is the mayor of Chicago, says, I'm sounding the alarm on the real crisis we face today. Donald Trump's overreach is what our founders warned against. It is unprecedented, unwarranted, and un-American. Chicago mayor went on to say, we're standing up to tyranny. On Morning Joe, Chicago mayor says he pushed back on President Trump's threat to deploy the National Guard. The governor went on to say that you are neither wanted nor needed in Illinois. And then finally, he said action will be met with response after Trump threatens to send the National Guard. Galvin Newsom calls Donald Trump the leading socialist of our time. He went on to say, now guys, listen to this. This one absolutely cracked me up. So this is from Governor Newsom. And he says, Dana Ding Dong Perino, never heard of her until today, is melting down because of me, Galvin Newsom. Fox hates that I am America's most favorite governor. I'm the ratings king, saving America, while Trump can't even conquer the big stairs of Air Force One anymore. Trump has lost his step and Fox is losing it because when I type, America now wins. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Don't that sound like Trump? That's exactly what Trump would say. Dana Ding Dong Perino.
Yeah.
Right. So he's just totally using, he's oh my goodness. Absolutely crazy. Governor Moore from Baltimore said, when threatened with the National Guard, told Trump, why don't you come over here and we will educate you. Right. So I think what the even reason I bring all of this, oh, by the way, Galvin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, Dana Green hit it right on the head. Laugh my ass off. I mean, that is absolutely what Trump would say.
Gruesome Newsom.
Yeah. VPs only get 6 months of Social Security coverage, so she had an extra month just before her book tour. Our school system does not teach what happened in Cuba or Venezuela when socialism came to law, and for a reason. Yep, Jazz Hands Newsom is evil incarnate. Yeah, kids are funny. Yep. Again, I think it's there's a lot of division, and I'm a little concerned about it, to be honest with you. Congressman Pramila Jayapal calls for leftist mobs to storm ICE facilities to free the hardened criminal illegal gangs that have been arrested for deportation. Galvin Newsom doubles down on trolling and threatens Trump that he will have his worst day of his life. Let's see here. Anonymous reported, according to conflict experts, the U.S. is in the early stages of a civil war in a period defined as incipient insurgency. At least you've got right now is the low tens of millions of people who are actively preparing to murder their countrymen. I thought that was a crazy statement. Calls for the Second American Civil War have become persistent theme song among extremist factions aligned with Donald Trump, particularly within the Make America Great movement, they reported. MAGA's vision for a second civil war dangerously misreads America's fragmented political geography. And Will Be Cool says it's Newsom's staff that are making those tweets. He's not smart enough to laugh out loud. I just think it's funny how it's just right along, the lines of something that Trump would say. Because that's exactly, Ding Dong Perino.
Yeah.
Dana Ding Dong
He calls
Perino.
people names.
He calls people names. So, yeah, I just think it's crazy that it's. I think it's crazy that we are even here. And I'll just leave it at that. G. John says, too early for a civil war or COVID-2. Need another 2 years before the next election. Yeah, or, just depends, right? Maybe the midterms, right, will come around. Who knows? I don't have any idea. You guys, the fact of the matter, don't believe anything I tell you.
Yeah.
Because I can't promise you that any of it's real. I just can't. I did think it was interesting, though. Dangle.com, which I've shared this with you guys before. This is a snip clip of it. And it talked about, I don't know if you guys were familiar with it or not. They took it down and then brought it back up. But Daigle's prediction said that this was back in 2016 and 17, that in 2025, America would experience 100 million people die that year. And our GDP would crash and all of these kinds of things. And 2025 is running out fast. So who knows, right?
They were saying by 2025 we would have that many.
Yeah.
Well, what did COVID kill?
Not even close to that, babe. Yeah, that 100 million people die means basically 1 in every 3.
Oh, dang.
Right, that's a lot, right? Let's see here. Jen says, I watched part of an interview with the scumbag today, and he's scary delusional. So Dr. Ben Marble, moving on, says the entire body blood supply in America and basically the whole world is contaminated with the spike protein poison bioweapon. We need to quit accepting blood from people who took the poison. We're seeing patients that get blood transfusions that are unpoked, and suddenly they get blood clots and have heart attacks and strokes. Sophia Eric, who I know, went on to say Robert F. Kennedy Jr. calls out Pfizer's clinical trial data on a national television. It took them 22,000, this is RFK speaking, if it took 22,000 vaccines to prevent 1 death, And if you're going to give 22,000 vaccines to prevent one COVID death, you better make sure that the vaccine is safe and that the vaccine is not killing people. In Pfizer's clinical trial, the pokey thing group had a 23% greater death rate from all causes than in the placebo group. It was a product that should have never been approved, much less mandated. Yeah. And I think you're going to see a whole bunch of people continue to turn on this issue.
So crazy that was mandated.
Yep, mandated. Right.
Mandated.
Concerned citizens said this is why people have had those changes in personality. Have you witnessed a change in personality of those that took the experimental thing? You probably have. This world-leading pathologist explains why. Italian pathologist finds everyone who had gotten it had a pineal gland, which was completely destroyed. The spike protein attacked the endocrine system, which explains personality changes. Goes on to say there's another strong link between the thing and psychiatric disorders. Have you noticed a change in the mRNA person? Well, it turns out you probably aren't imagining it, as studies reveal that the thing changes people's personalities. And Thomas Massey went on to say that on Tuesday, he introduced legislation to repeal the sweeping liability shield that exempts the pokey vaccine manufacturers from reasonably or responsibility for serious injury or death caused by their products. Which would be, I would love that. Love that. Let's see here. It's sad, but they are putting it in the food and have been for a while. Spike is everywhere. Yep. I don't know how you avoid it. Right? Because even in, the life that we lead and like many of you guys lead, doing it everything for yourself is pretty rough. Let's see. Wide Awake Media reported that Tedros claims that the World Health Organization did not impose anything on anyone during that time. So the director of it said, "Hey, we didn't mandate anything." I mean, and you know what? People just forget or just don't care.
Yeah.
How could they even say that? If that right there didn't turn you off from the World Health Organization, I don't know what would. Right? Squatchy says, a big concern we have is how highly publicized they're making the wormer. Again, made by a pharmaceutical company. Yeah. You know what he means by a wormer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. He says they'll go bankrupt, not pay, and then miraculously come back as another company with a new name. Isn't that sad? Dr. Jancy Lindsay, PhD. This is egregious. Molecular biologist and toxicologist with over 30 years of experience goes scorched earth on how regulators are trying to sweep SV40 found in the Pfizer mRNA injections under the rug, knowing that this can cause cancer. An SV40 promoter would normally never be allowed to be used for human purposes, and a nuclear targeting sequence was added to the promoter. All of our meat is also now being injected with these genetic vaccines. These absolutely should have been pulled, and I am asking you to ban these shots and the entire platform. Yeah, so to the point before about putting them in the food, we don't buy any of our meat anywhere, but right here what we raise or in other homesteads. But what a great reason to start doing business with the local farmer.
Yeah.
Right. What a great reason to start doing those things. There is zero chance I'd be buying meat at Walmart. Zero. Less than zero. Right. We'll just have to move on to tomato sandwiches or something. Right. That sounds good. Nicholas Holcher, PMH, says the mRNA shots destroy 8.4% of non-renewable eye cells. A study of 64 young adults found irreversible structural damage to the eyes, corneal endothelium after Pfizer's injection. These cells do not regenerate. Damage is permanent and may lead to blurred vision or blindness. Yep. Love runs rampant says it. Yes, local. It's in lettuce and tomatoes too. Yep. Robert F. Kennedy calls out Pfizer's clinical trial data on national television. I already read that one. I got some more for you guys. This is a huge win for informed consent, parental control. A 14-year-old boy in North Carolina was poked without his mother's consent. He said no. His mom never signed the form, but the staff gave it to him anyway.
Oh my gosh.
How would you feel?
I would be irate.
Yep, let that sink in. No consent, no parental approval, no legal consequences until now. His mother sued. The school said it was protected by the federal vaccine law, the PrEP Act. But the North Carolina Supreme Court just ruled parents have constitutional rights, and this lawsuit can indeed move forward.
Oh, man.
This is huge because for once the court said you can't inject someone's child and hide behind a legal shield. Informed consent is an optional. Parents' rights aren't conditional, and no school, clinic, or pharma-backed policy has the right to override them. This is the exact argument in burning the flag.
Yeah.
It really is. It's that the Constitution trumps everything, inconvenient or not. You can have freedom, you can have safety, you can't have both. But this is another thing. Those parents' rights are absolute.
Wow, that is crazy.
They're just absolute. Yeah, look at that. Love runs rampant, 100%. Yep. This was an interesting one I read too. It says, now I understand why we were adamant about masking everybody up. In 2008, Dr. Anthony Fauci co-authored a paper about the Spanish, this was in 2008, about the Spanish flu epidemic that rates as the most devastating modern pandemic. It swept the entire planet in the wake of the First World War and caused millions of deaths. So in studying this major and actual pandemic, what Dr. Fauci and his colleagues find? Well, they discovered that most of the victims of the Spanish flu didn't die from the Spanish flu. They died from a bacterial pneumonia. And the bacterial pneumonia was caused by, wait for it, wearing masks. President Trump is now considering banning all COVID-19 vaccines amid cancer surge in America. And I verified that is true. He is talking about it. Hope he does it. Let's see here. What has changed in the last 30 years? Since 1990, the cases of ADHD are up 819%. Alzheimer's, 299%. Autism, 2,000%. Bipolar disease in youth, 10%. Let's pick some big ones up here. Depression, 280%. Diabetes, 305%. Fibromyalgia, 7,272%. They're killing us, guys.
Lupus, 787%.
Yeah, I just stopped reading. They're killing us. They're killing us on every front. We talk all the time about, let's go break the stroke. We'll go get a solar system so we don't have to pay electricity. But yet we continue to buy our food from Walmart. Maybe that's more important, right? I mean, they're killing us from the air. They're killing us from our water. They're killing it from the food that we eat.
Mental health.
Yep. You guys remember that Australia was boosted, that they had almost 100% vaccine status, right? Australians aged in their 30s and 40s are experiencing unprecedented and in some cases world-leading rates of 10 different types of cancer, and scientists are desperately trying to figure out why. When Fauci came into office in 1968, about 6% of Americans had chronic disease, including obesity, neurological, allergic, and autoimmune diseases. By 1986, 11.8% of children had chronic diseases. By 2006, that number had risen to 64%. That's his track record. 64% of children have a chronic disease. 64%.
It's ridiculous.
Of kids.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Odds of your child getting myocarditis after before the COVID was 1 in 250,000. After is now 1 in 40. Yeah, they've been able to screen for those disorders better. People just have been screwed up for centuries. See, I don't agree with that. I do agree that technology has improved. You can screen it a little better, but are you telling me that the same, the ADHD, the 819% that we always had them, we just didn't diagnose it? Or maybe, just maybe, that's not what it was. Maybe what it really is that just a boy being a boy and a girl being a girl, right? And boys are spastic and girls are emotional, and that's the way they're supposed to be, and we don't need to drug them or numb them because of it. That's what I think, respectfully. Susie, good evening to you. Keep it trucking. China is now fighting a mosquito-borne chikungunya virus with drones and fines that net thousands that fall ill. China fights with mosquito-borne virus, stirs zero COVID flashbacks. Chikungunya disease rarely causes serious problems or death. Symptoms include sudden high fever, headaches, fatigue, rash, nausea, and red eyes. Symptoms of it often appear within 2 to 7 days of the bite of an infected mosquito, and this is ongoing in China. Now, Chinese people are lining up to take blood tests just to get tested for it. Only if your test is negative are you allowed to leave the lockdown zone. And this is where digital currency comes in, right? If you test positive, your whole family could be sent off to be quarantined. Let's see, Susie says HPV, another lie. There's a lot of them out there, unfortunately. U.S. has confirmed its first human case of New World screwworm infestation. Did you read this?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yep, the New World screwworm are fly larvae that feed on living tissue capable of infesting livestock, pets, wildlife, and occasionally birds and humans. There's no medication to treat it, according to the CDC. The U.S. has reported its first case of a flesh-eating parasite. And so we will watch, I guess, to see what happens in this. But we do have our first case.
That's awful.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I should crop those pictures. Let's see here. Where am I at? Oh, yeah. The good news about them letting mosquitoes loose in cities. Right. And then we're surprised, right? When it gets to Florida, we are doomed. Mosquitoes are buzzers down here. Yeah. We're sure have been screwed in more ways than one. Yeah. Conserve Friend says, oddly, I haven't seen a chemtrail since March. I haven't seen a lot of them either, which I'm good. I like that. Chikungunya has been around for years, but it's been messed with. You guys are all so smart. World Economic Forum says water must be a global commons, right? They've come for everything else. Now they're going to come for the water. Yet their corporate partners, Nestle, Pepsi, and BlackRock, privatize and price gouge it. Now elites push for rationing as a solution, right? It's theft. They will ban rainwater collection next. There's many parts of the country that already are, and most of Europe,
which is so
is
crazy.
That way. It's official. The pandemic agreement is adopted by the World Health Organization. This was a few weeks ago, but I wanted to include it. Trump says to the Europeans, stop the windmills. You're ruining your countries. You're killing your birds and ruining your oceans. On immigration, stop the invasion. You better get your act together. You're not going to have Europe anymore. Which, by the way, I agree with. Let's see here. That is true about chemtrails. I have not been seeing them lately either. Yeah, Lisa says chemtrails all week here. Nito says, I've seen chemtrails. I believe they are sprayed in California and drift over us. California all of a sudden rushes to cut off water to ranchers without warning. A globalist war on farmers hits U.S. soil. California has imposed the first ever permanent water restrictions on cities and towns. California State Water Resource Control Board, a body appointed by Gavin Newsom, just enacted a policy that requires urban water suppliers to restrict the water they supply by 40% over the next 15 years. The municipal water suppliers that is out of compliance will be fined $10,000 for each day they are out of compliance, just like the Idaho Department of Water Resources ordered a water curtailment without any legislative approval. California is now doing the same. Guys, water, a creek, a pond, a well, rainwater, anything you can do, because, again, these are all the little things that they'll hold stroke over your head.
Yeah.
Right?
They can cut it off.
Right. World Economic Forum wants to fiddle with how much water we're allowed. They want a price on water. Water is not a right, they say. Let's see. Water
falls from the sky.
But it belongs to them.
Crazy.
It belongs to the rulers. It belongs to the rulers. Water is no longer seen as a commodity and is recognized as a human right and a good of the nation. Mexico recently announced a water plan to regulate concessions, end illegal water sales, and modernize irrigation, as well as advance the administration's main water infrastructure products. And the United Nations in Geneva said a global call to action has been launched to strengthen water and sanitation regulations worldwide.
Strengthen them up.
Because you got to have the regulations, right? Who would look out for the poor people? Effective regulation is key to safe, affordable, and sustainable services, they go on to say. Hey, Gregory. Welcome. Gregory says, evening, so they will tax the rain that falls on my farm. Yep, pretty much.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Susie says, the water covers most of the world. Yep, spring. And ask Springbox, what they don't know won't hurt them until they come take your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. Until they fly a drone over your property, right? Whatever it is. Human is color of man, only man, women. Lisa says the city of Wichita is voting on whether to restrict lawn watering, whether Cheney Reservoir is full or not. This is a slow burn. Without community and a homestead, you're not going to make it. Hue color. Okay, got it. Hue color. Hue is color of man. Got it. Not human. All right, we got you. We got you. How are we doing on time? Okay. We got time for a few more.
10 minutes.
We got time for a few more. Since all of the water restrictions, I thought I would share with you guys two different interesting maps. The first one, surrounded in black, is the map of the Ogallala Aquifer, which is a gigantic body of water that sits under the United States. And the one to the right are the land that Bill Gates bought up. And, Nebraska and, Kansas and Colorado and, all of those states. There's a whole bunch. What's that about? About 50,000 acres. He owns 268,000 acres. But in digging in these maps, I found something else that I found interesting as well. Maryland had a rain tax, but the outrage was so strong it only lasted a month. Gregory says they don't need drones, just a picture from a satellite. Yep. And you guys have ever watched looked at these disaster maps that are claiming that when the pole shift happens, the map that will be left? So this is actually a projection of what will happen after a pole shift. And this is the map. And so then highlighting the states that the billionaires are buying up land in
are the green.
Which I find super interesting. The only problem I have with this theory is why is there not more land bought up in, Kansas and Oklahoma and Iowa and South Dakota? Because those would all be prime, right? But either way, it does line up. Pretty interesting. Let's see here. Love Runs Rampant said, I'm hoping Maryland gets its head on right, but not holding my breath. Jen says, yep. Something that has always made me curious, environmentalists scream about the oceans becoming diluted by ice melting, but making fresh H2O from ocean H2O is also bad. That's a little counter.
Fresh water.
We must stay positive. Don't give them our energy. I agree. Arkansas has the Waltons also. Yep, and JB Hunt too, huh? Yep. Oops. That's what they trade our energy. Hey, look at there's my buddy Mario. Says, good evening, friends. Good weekend to all of you, and good night. Thank you, Tagging Me, for giving your time to us all. Yep. I hope you have a great night, my friend. And I can't wait to see you, bud.
Yep.
So I know this is all just coincidence, so don't pay any attention to it. That's where the solar farms will be and run by their private corporations under many umbrella companies. That would actually be really interesting, Ben, to take this map and put all of the new solar farms on this. Right? Because there's a lot of them down through, Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas and Nebraska. There's a whole wind farms and solar farms. Right?
Yeah.
That would be a very, very interesting thing, I think. Brooklyn man lost his fully paid $800,000 home after a $5,000 water bill was quietly sold into a trust run by a group of investors. Hidden from his statements, the debt let the trust foreclose and auction off his house without his knowledge, and they took over his house by force.
How is that legal?
Well, I'm sure they will fight it in court, and I'm sure there's a technicality of it, or who knows.
Fully paid off house.
Fully paid off house. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Yep, and Susie for the win says they need us more than we need them. Ain't that the truth? Dane Wiggleton shared a similar overlay several years ago, might still be on his website. Maybe they could reduce the rise of the oceans if they stop countries from dumping trash in the oceans. That's a good idea. That only makes common sense, G-Johns. That may contribute more than glacier melt, but no one wants to go there. No, they don't. All right, I'm going to quit right there. I wonder how many I had left. I said maybe another 10, but that's okay. Well, guys, life is crazy. And I think that there's been plenty of examples tonight about how the divide is great. The war on resources is great. And the very best thing we can do is just depend less and less on it.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, I don't know any other way around it, and you can, if for you preppers out there, prep for whatever event that you think is important out there. And what you'll come to is being self-sufficient is a good idea. It's like the one thing, like if you could rebuild Little House on the Prairie, where everyone had their little farms and you went to the trading post to get a few things and everyone worked together to build the barn. I think you'd be in pretty good shape right through all of that.
Yeah.
And, but B, you want to get us out of here? What do you got on your list?
I was going to talk about the fact that, it's getting chillier out. So my kind of pulling things from the garden, and that's harvest time. And what comes right behind that is winter. And so I was going to just remind everybody that winter is coming. And there's a couple of issues that I need to go and kind of zip down on the fence. And I'd like to get that done. So fencing, hauling hay in, getting, temperatures are dropping and moisture's getting drier. So time to kind of stock up on the food and hay, bring hay in, all of that.
Yep. Winter will be here before we know it. It's a great time to be putting up wood. It's a great time to be hauling hay, as she mentioned. Stock up on your animal feed. Because the temperatures are dropping, it won't mold as quick. You can store a little more.
Yeah.
Stock up in that. Don't put yourself in a position to where you have to go out, where you have to go ask, where it's same with like propane. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. It's better than one 1,000 gallon tank, two 1,000 gallon tanks, because then you can shop it all the time.
Yep. Have a little bit of fuel on hand.
Right. Fill everything up.
Change, or you have to put stabilizer in the fuel.
Yeah.
All the things.
Love Run Rampant says, by the way, I just read B's shirt.
Yeah. My husband bought a whole plethora of offensive shirts.
It's not offensive. I think it's funny. If it's offensive, why are you wearing it?
Because you bought it for me.
Anyway, guys, get out there, get busy, go build community with it. Everything's possible. Without it, almost nothing's possible. Tag out, be out. We'll see you guys in a week. See you guys.
Hold the line.